Good morning. I was working at a radio station as a disc jockey in Petoskey, Michigan at WPPZ 1340. And when I entered the building on the morning of January 1st, 1982, I went to the AP ticker to pull off some of the morning top stories for the day. When I entered into the recording room and started reading the news clipping, I suddenly stopped after reading. On January 23, 1979, Victor Charles had to postpone his performance of his one-man show at the Muskingum College due to an accident he recently had. This doesn't appear to be a positive beginning for the year of 1979. On February 28, 1979, Victor Charles was cast in the television program Supertrain in the role of Misto and other stars like Rove Bill Barty and Scott Brady. And on March 19, 1979, he was on the Johnny Carson Show with Phyllis Newman, Ed McMahon, and opera singer Beverly Sills. He had an open invitation on Johnny Carson Show whenever he wanted to recite his new poems or show off his new knitted hats that his mother Myrtle Belle made for him. To this very day, I'm envious of my dear cousin Vickie when she had the privilege of sitting with Johnny Carson and her uncle Victor Charles when they dined in a restaurant after filming his television show. Victor Charles was in the television program Darn You Harry Landers on April 7th, 1979, and he was performing on the television program The Return of the Mod Squad on May 17, 1979. He soon was cast in another stage production titled Moore's Dracula at the Stage West in Alberta, Canada. A theater critic commented on his performance, saying, "Victor Buono, star of so much in the fields of legit and recorded theater, is the star of the show, and yet he isn't. Apart from his noteworthy bulk, he doesn't impose himself on the production. Much of his acting is positively soft and confidentially voiced. It's his restless, quivering body and his fluttering finger that tell you he is an eager explorer of the unknown. His passion for a triumph over the devil is perhaps best expressed by a repeated small gesture, that of putting a finger in his mouth. It makes the almost obsessed Van Helsing incredibly enduring." On August 27, 1979, Victor Charles's mother died. She was 69 years old. She was my grandma Mert, and she had been galvanized in my heart and mind ever since she left us. She was a very strong woman, and she said everything without hesitation, and she never held back what she truly thought. I can't imagine the pain my Uncle Victor Charles felt by losing her. For his entire life, she was always standing by his side, supporting him and loving him. They shared the same roofs for 40 years together, waking up in the mornings, drinking hot coffee, and eating her delicious meals throughout the days and nights. I believe Victor Charles's loss of his mother was never filled by any other, and the vacant hole in his heart was never patched of his grief for the rest of his life. She was the most important woman in his entire life. Victor Charles was performing in the television program Better Late Than Never, starring Harry Morgan, Harold Gould, and Donald Pleasance, on October 15, 1979. The storyline about the production had to do with elder people trying to get along. Victor Charles said, "What's wrong with the word old? Why do we refuse to use perfectly good words? There's nothing wrong with the word fat, and there's nothing wrong with old. I thought I'd be old at age 60. To me, 40 is just a short size. I think it's ridiculous to fight against aging. You can no more stop the aging process than you can stop going to the bathroom. And if you try, something's going to explode." Another decade had come and gone for my Uncle Victor Charles. He survived the wild, progressive 1970s of the Vietnam War, Roe versus Wade, the hippie nation, and President Nixon's Watergate almost impeachment affair. My Uncle Victor Charles started in the beginning of 1980 in a barrage of being in television programs that were not reviewed very kindly. There wasn't any classic A-grade productions waiting for him, and most of them were silly plots and with buffoonery characters that he would have to play. Victor Charles was in the television program Matt and Jenny titled Mystery of the Pikes on March 28, 1980. He played the role of Hezekiah Pike, and the producer was William Davison. Victor Charles was performing in the television movie Murder Can Hurt You on May 18, 1980, starring Jamie Farr, Connie Stevens, and Victor Charles playing in the role of Chief Ironbottom. He shared a few describing words about the production, saying, "It's pure, unadulterated force, and I think it's survived the improvements, if they attempted any. A show like this with a handful of good comics can be real dangerous. We tend to try to get laughs ourselves. We were trading gags, trying any piece of business that, if it didn't work for ourselves, we'd offer to anybody, and I don't hesitate to say, with love. Every single one, and if anyone is offended, I'll be shocked. We did a job on all of them. We worked hard as professionals to do things we've been trying never ever to do. I did the quamquack that should set art back 500 years. Until you've been given McLeod's watermelon, you haven't lived. Life is a hollow mockery until you've seen Jamie Farr's Carmen Miranda hat. If they put on screen everything that we do on film, it would last 12 hours. It was a case of we didn't always stop when they said cut."